Dr. Will Norman, my new Walking and Cycling Commissioner, will lead, deliver and promote active travel in London. He'll be responsible to the Deputy for Transport and will help to deliver my pledge to get more Londoners active by making cycling and walking easier and more appealing, both individual trips and as part of public transport journeys, and by supporting my vision to create healthy streets. An important part of this will be to consider the whole range of what makes streets work for people rather than focusing too heavily on one mode of transport. The things that people who are cycling need from London streets are by and large the same things that people who are walking and people who are using public transport need: safe, quiet, clean and attractive places that are not dominated by motorised traffic. That's what the Healthy Streets approach is all about. Indeed, to quote from your recent Assembly Member Russell report, Healthy Streets is about prioritising people. I should add that whilst I do acknowledge the progress made by the previous administration, including the delivery of segregated cycle lanes, at times I think that there was an unnecessary confrontational approach towards stakeholders during delivery of such schemes. I'm confident we can reset relationships with the key stakeholders, and Will Norman is ready to play a crucial role in this. As an immediate priority, he'll meet TfL, the London boroughs, businesses and key interest groups to identify challenges and agree with partners at how Healthy Streets visions can be achieved. Will is an expert on behavioural change and active travel, as well as being extremely knowledgeable about walking and cycling challenges in London. Three things he'll be working on straight away will be to finalise a programme of improvements planned to be delivered in 17-18 that will improve conditions for walking, cycling and reducing road danger. Secondly, input into my new draft transport strategy to ensure we benefit from his knowledge on walking and cycling. And thirdly, look at how we can encourage more Londoners to travel actively, realising the health benefits of this simple lifestyle change.
Thank you very much, Mr Mayor, and thank you also for your letter and your very detailed response to my report, which I received just this morning. As an anthropologist, Will is knowledgeable about behavioural change and has applied that to encouraging sports participation. So in his new role, he needs to help Londoners bring more walking and cycling into their everyday journeys. So how do you expect him to go about that shift to everyday journeys?
One of the people I missed out in relation to key stakeholders you've got to speak to is the Southern members, and campaigners. I mean, you understand the challenges there are. What I don't want to do is for there to be confrontation, and that's why the job that Will has got is a walking and cycling commissioner. It can't be cyclists versus pedestrians. And so part of it is the experience he's got from the work he did in his current job, but also part of it is learning the lessons from how other cities have managed to nudge people to change behaviour, carrots, incentives. We've got to use all those things.
It's really encouraging to hear you talking about not having confrontation, because that's part of the key to delivering all of this. He's obviously got experience of the kind of soft measures that were very effective here in London during the Olympics, when, following travel advice, lots of people made significant changes to the way that they get around. But Will also needs to be advocating for TfL to build the right infrastructure, the new bike lanes, the wider pavements, the better crossings. So how will you ask the new commissioner to prioritise his attention between the soft behavioural change and the hard infrastructure measures?
Well, the important thing is, look, the choice I could have taken was to have a political appointee doing this job. What we did instead was get the best person for the job, an open advert. More than 150 people applied. He's the best person for the job. He's got the resources backing him up. Him and Val have the resources. You'll have seen the figures in the draft budget, which I hope will be approved by the Assembly. But also work with local authorities as well. One of the ambitions we've got is to have more quiet ways. The reality is that means working in partnership with local authorities, learning the lessons from the 3 mini Hollands going forward. We've got to use all the tools in our toolkit to accelerate a change in lifestyles. Part of it is the recognition that as our population grows from 8.6 million now to 9 million in 2020 to 10 million in 2030, we need modal shift, and that's why we need to work together to try and resolve it. And I think you're right, we've got to be less confrontational.
Now, yes, totally agree on that, obviously. There are lots of Londoners who've been waiting for this appointment for a very long time, and there are communities, particularly in outer London, who are struggling with very traffic-dominated environments, like along the North Circular, in Brentford by the A4, and people in Enfield I've visited recently who have got a lot of really good ideas about the kind of help that they need to travel less by car. So will you ask Will to actually get out there and speak to the people who might have some good ideas to help
Absolutely.
him?
A question later on from some member Shah is about outer London and cycling. And one of the big things we've got to always be careful against is not just focusing on Zone 1. Zone 1 is very important, but the other zones matter as well. There's congestion in outer London. You're absolutely right. Bus usage, we talked about concerns around bus usage. Congestion occurs all across London. And so whilst, of course, pedestrianised Oxford Street is a priority for us for very good reasons, and we're working closely with the council and the businesses and the residents there, there are also things we can do in outer London as well. And the good news is, the leaders of councils in outer London get it. I was in Bexley last week with Senator Bacon, and there's a need to address congestion all across London.
Fantastic. And finally, your first year in office is going to coincide with Will Norman's first 100 days in his role. So what do you hope to have done to deliver healthy streets by that time?
I saw when I was thinking about how to answer your question, one of the things I wanted to say is we can't put artificial deadlines in relation to the destination. The destination is for people to walk and cycle. I think if we artificially do a target of 100 days, it means that you're inadvertently trying to retrofit everything into the first 100 days. We need to change people's behaviour. We need to incentivise it. At the same time, one of the reasons why I'm so passionate, as indeed you are, about addressing air qualities, you don't want to inadvertently encourage people to cycle and walk and be breathing in poisonous air. That's why it's all joined up. That's why the policies around air quality linked to transport, walking and cycling being a key area, but also making sure we get the most polluting cars off the road. Scaremongering with misleading figures helps nobody.
Indeed, I'm out of time, so I'm going to have to leave it there.
Right. The next question relates to making Southern